Okay, we got another candidate for governor. Would you make welcome to the stage, Robert Sarvis. Robert.
Hello, thank you for inviting me here. My name is Robert Sarvis. I'm the Libertarian candidate for governor. And those are a bunch of great speeches, but there's often a huge gap between the rhetoric you hear on the campaign trail and what you get once the people are in office. And I will submit to you that over the past 3 or 4 decades, neither Republican nor Democratic parties have been fighting for your freedom, or even for you. More often than not, they're fighting for the interests of their moneyed backers. There are so many regulations, tax exemptions, and other tax policies, and general laws on the books that exist for the sole purpose of maximizing the profits of private corporations, that insulate corporations or entire industries from new competition, from entrepreneurs, from innovation. That's not just in the private sector, that's also in the public sector, the healthcare sector, education sector, transportation. Why is it that the areas in which government is most involved are the ones that are so messed up? I ask you. And it's not a Democratic problem, it's not a Republican problem, it's a problem with a government that does not trust you to live your lives as you see fit, to run your businesses as you want to run it. The problem is a government that does not respect the rule of law. And there's only one party that has consistently, for the last 30 years, been arguing for freedom under the rule of law. And when I say freedom, I don't mean the rhetorical freedom, wrapping yourself in the rhetoric of freedom, but cheapening it by your association with it and the policies that you support when in office. I mean real freedom, both economic freedom and personal liberty. And I am uniquely positioned to lead this state. I'm the only person who was born and bred here. I'm the only person whose marriage was once illegal in this state. And I meet a lot of voters who don't even know that interracial marriages were once illegal in this state. And I think that's a tragedy. As George Santayana said, ignorance of history, those who are ignorant of history are condemned to repeat it. I'm the only person who has studied economics and who actually understands that the most important thing we can do to get people back into jobs is not to use the government to choose which industries or which companies are going to get subsidies. Both of my opponents have said that that's the role of the government. I'm the only person who is saying that that should not be the role of government. Right on! I'm the only person who's saying that we should return to the rule of law, and government's focus should be on ensuring that markets are open and competitive. That's what's going to create the flexibility and the incentives to move people from failing industries and move them into rising industries. Let's talk about education. Ken Cuccinelli just came out with an education plan 2 weeks ago. I've had an education plan focused on universal school choice since day one of my campaign. I've also talked about the administrative bloat in the education system. We have something like 1.8 administrators for every teacher. Terry McAuliffe said that we're 50th in terms of average teacher pay. But our average per pupil spending is $10,000. It's in the top half. Why is that? Because we spend a lot of money on administrative bloat. If we reduce that to a 1-to-1 ratio, we could save at the state and local levels combined $1 billion a year. Woo! And we could have entirely paid for the transportation increased spending without raising taxes of $6 billion a year over 5 years. Just think about that. There was no prioritization of spending at all under a Republican administration and under Democratic administrations. You get the same thing. And elections are about accountability. Not just accountability of the people you're voting for, but of the parties they represent. Because they're going to keep saying the same thing over and over again until you say stop. And the best way to say stop in this election here in Virginia, reclaim the Commonwealth, reclaim freedom in the Commonwealth, and send a message across the country that we're reclaiming the federal government as well. is to vote for me, to vote for freedom, to vote for Virginia that's open-minded and open for business. Again, my name is Robert Sarvis. Please come and talk to me. I would love to convince you to support me. You can find more about me at robertsarvis.com. I hope to meet every single one of you. Thank you.